The most dangerous wrong direction is the one that looks right from the outside. Welcome to episode 1 of the Kaizen with Luca podcast. Today we are talking about, are you living your life or someone else's? I have some research to share with you from Monash University and Talker Research. 49% of young people make career choices based on the expectation of others. Think about it. If you're somebody that was in college a couple years ago, I graduated college in 2022. I went in with a degree. I wanted to get a marine affairs degree. I think my family at the time was probably thinking I was a little crazy for wanting to do something like that. They would ask me, "Where's the money?" They would ask, "What's the potential down the road for you to do?" All these valid questions. Now, I could tell you 4 years after graduation and a year and a half after getting an MBA that I did not get a marine affairs degree. I wanted to get a marine affairs degree because I thought, oh, I like fish. I was in a place in high school where I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And I wrote a college essay about photography because at that time I was heavily into photography. And I wrote about capturing the perfect photo of a tiger or something like that, I think. And I think I also wrote another alternative essay about caring for my fish. I had a fish. She was a discus. Her name was Iris. For some reasons, felt very attached to that fish. Absolutely beautiful, just like a turquoisey cyan discus with some nice red striping, like just an absolutely beautiful fish. And I thought, you know what? I got my dive license or certification. I was so heavily involved with wanting to do something that was beyond me, right? Like with doing just something that felt good. And the expectation for me was fairly low. I would say probably I don't know what the actual how my family felt about it after the fact, but going into it, I had the support to go chase that, and there were some nudges of like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to do this?" And I came to my own conclusions. I changed my major 3 times in college because I really just didn't know, and I went from marine affairs, did that for my freshman year, swapped out into hospitality, and then I was like, I don't really want to work in hotels. I don't want to work in restaurants. And so I went to marketing because I knew that underlying I had creativity and I could count on that creativity from experiences that I had in the past, at least throughout high school. I was just always a creative person. I created videos instead of doing presentations because I found that to be more engaging than standing up in front of somebody doing a presentation. And it paid off. Like, I really enjoyed what I did in place of projects. So if you are in a place right now where you're deciding what major you want to do, just make sure that what you want to be able to explore. I used to be an admissions counselor, and I would talk to students about this all of the time. And there was this one student out there that walked up to me and he was like talking about business degrees. And I was like, well, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And he was like, I want to be an electrician and I want to own my own business. And I was like, well, you're not going to become a master electrician if you don't go to a trade school and get an electrician, certification license training, because we don't offer that here. Like, I would tell you that we suck for becoming an electrician because we just simply don't offer it. And he's like, oh, but my mom wants me to go look at colleges. My mom wants me to go do this. Now, I was like, dude, anybody can run a business. You do not need a business degree to run a business. Most of the time, you can just figure out how to do it. Yeah, does it help to have a business degree? Like, does that make you more savvy? 100%, of course it does. But that does not mean that you should go and spend $60,000 on a degree that is not going to achieve the dream that you want. So I hope that student ended up going to a trade school and not to a college and wasting his time, because it's hard to become an electrician. You have to have so many hours as an apprentice and all these different licenses they have to get. It would have been a waste of time. He would never have achieved that dream because he was making a career choice based on somebody else. Next piece from Talker Research. 52% of Gen Z report being in an existential crisis right now. I'm late Gen Z. I'm 26 years old. I could not imagine being in an existential crisis right now. And the reason I say that is because we have so much time. If you feel like you have no time right now, then you need to step back and slow down a little bit. I know that there's a lot going on around the world, but those are not things that you can control. The things that you control are the things that are immediately around you. It's not what's going on thousands of miles away, although they do have impact. They do. And there are things that we simply have to accept that we cannot control. But what are the things that you can do right now, today, that would make you feel a little bit less anxious? Maybe it's providing a little bit of security for yourself by saving some extra money. Maybe it's by picking up the side gig that you always wanted to do that could bring in a little extra money. Maybe it's the community that you're missing. Figure out what is causing you the most anxiety and attack it head on. Maybe then that will just help settle the mind a little bit. Maybe just take a little bit of a 5-minute break. Go walk outside for 20 minutes. Enjoy the sun, feel the breeze, reconnect with yourself. Step away from social media for a little bit. Social media is the biggest thing that we had growing up. We all grew up. If you're a Gen Zer, we grew up with social media. We were embedded in it. You know how much time I spend doom scrolling and looking at things that are out of my control, looking at other people's lives? Why should I care what Ryan Reynolds is doing? Who cares? Why should I care about Billie Eilish? Why should I care about any of these celebrities? I don't personally track celebrities because it's just useless to me. I have people that I look up to, and I'll track those people that are actually giving me value because they're passing on their wisdom. Ryan Reynolds, I'm sure, he's a fantastic guy. I love watching his movies. Love Ryan Gosling, the other Ryan, right? Like all those guys, all those actresses, all those musicians, they're all inspiring, but there's no value gained back to me by just following them and seeing what, TMZ is reporting on them. So remove the thing that is causing the anxiety. Just put your phone down. Set a limit for social media. And you'll kind of see that it's going to suck because you're going to have a withdrawal. And I've done this before. I have a 2-hour limit on my phone. And once that time is up, I find myself craving. I want to crave Instagram and Facebook. And I want to go scroll. It's not like I'm gaining anything from it. I'm just scrolling just to scroll. Same thing with TikTok. You know how many ads I get now on TikTok? It's like 4 ads per one meme video. It makes no sense. No sense. So set a limit and just try to mitigate how much social media you're consuming, because you'll probably see that when you're comparing yourself so often to other people and seeing a manufactured life, nobody lives the way that they do on social media. I'm sorry to tell you. Unless you're like, I don't even think, I'm going to call out Dan Balzerian, because that guy always posts the most craziest things. I highly doubt every day is like that. Think about how many photos he has stocked up. And he's probably a bad example. It's probably a little controversial, but he's the first thing that comes to mind when you're living a fake lifestyle. Next up, Monash University. 51.5% of young people are concerned that others won't approve of their choices. Seeking other people's approval, I think, is something that social media has done to us as well. I think a lot of our problems probably stem from social media, and it's not a bad thing to have it, but it's good to limit the interaction that you have on social media. But it doesn't really matter what others think. It doesn't matter what I think either to what you're doing. If what you're doing gets you to your goal, who am I to tell you that you're right or wrong? The only thing that I want for you is to make you a better person, to extract the knowledge of yourself out of you so that you can go and achieve your dreams. That is my ultimate goal with Kaizen, is to make you a better person, to go through the things that I went through because I wanted to step up for my future family, for my partner, for my friends, my colleagues. I just want to be the best version of myself. And when I went ahead and did that, I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. I just went ahead and did it. And I walk into rooms and people tell me that I have this quiet confidence about me. I went ahead and visited one of my childhood best friend's parents, and they're like, "Oh, you just have that quiet, you have that confidence about you. Like, you grew up so well." And we were talking and catching up, but I was like, "Oh, I just like to stay humble. I don't want to come off as this like cocky guy, because I'm not. At the end of the day, I'm not. But I'm a team player. I want people around me to succeed, and I can only move as fast as the other person on my team. So it doesn't matter what other people are thinking of you. It doesn't. What's the worst thing that they can do, really? And I guess that is subjective to what the situation is. I guess, if you really committed a bad crime, it does matter what other, people think. But nobody has to approve of your choice. That's yours to decide. That is your cross to bear if the choice that you made ended up wrong. But that is what failure is all about. You learn from the mistake. And right now, as Gen Z, if you're late Gen Z like me, I don't know what the earlier side of that is, but if you're somebody that is in this 49 to 51%, 52% of people, then slow down. I hear you. I've been there. I've never had it figured out. I'm not saying I even have it figured out now, but I was there. I was not the brightest kid in school. I was a pretty much straight B student. Never made it into the top 20 of my class. I was pretty unremarkable. But I still got success out of all my peers. I still worked hard for the things that I believed in. And when I set a goal for myself, I went ahead and achieved that goal. I gave myself 2 years to get into the job that I got into. 2 years. I said, I am not doing another travel season. I'm going to make a pivot in my career. I applied to 15 jobs, and only one of them in the industry that I wanted to get into actually took a chance. I got denied 14 times. I didn't give up. I just kept going because I knew if I just kept going, one thing will stick. So you just have to relentlessly push. I do have some talking points here. So the question that people never ask, they always ask, am I successful? But they never ask, is this actually mine? So this goes all the way back to the college, or well, the high school senior choosing a major. Is your family pressuring you to pick something because they're afraid that you're not going to be successful? Think about it. The professional, the person that's early career. Do you know why you started that job that you're in? Is it just because you wanted to make money? I know for a fact when I worked at Home Depot, I was just there to make money. I could not wait to get out. Could not wait. Or maybe you're somebody that has been in a role for so long and you're performing ambition, but you never actually examined that ambition. What are you actually wanting to work towards? And here is the sign that it's not yours. The sign that you know it's not yours is when you can't describe the end state without using somebody else's language. You feel relief when it falls through rather than disappointment. You're working hard, but you have never examined the actual direction you're going in. Now, I could tell you with this Kaizen idea that I know where I want this to go. But I couldn't tell you when I was studying marine affairs where I was going to go. Was I going to be a lobbyist for the marine industry? No. You know what? You know what made me decide that I didn't want to do it? I was sitting in my marine affairs class with a professor that I absolutely adored. Fantastic professor. And she said, "Your options are primarily on a fishing boat, counting fish." How does that sound? Doesn't sound like something like I want to do. I don't want to sit on a boat and count fish. One of my coworkers actually ended up fulfilling that, counting fish on a boat, and his boat capsized. If you're listening, hello. I doubt you are, but if you're listening, hi. And that's not what I want for myself. It wasn't. So I pivoted. And maybe, you're an engineer. Maybe you picked something that was just a popular degree because you thought, oh, you know what? I'm going to make a ton of money. But you're not passionate about it. And passion in work, you should enjoy what you do. You should love going to work every day, and it should feel good to go to work. But it shouldn't just be about money. It shouldn't. And everybody's trying to find the perfect thing to do, and that's why everybody starts and they try to run their own business. But you can still find joy and passion in the work that you do by working for the right company. And you don't have to be an entrepreneur either. I talk about entrepreneurship all of the time. Entrepreneurship is something I'm so passionate about because they shove entrepreneurship down our throats like it's the only thing that we can do, when sometimes we just want to climb up the ranks somewhere. Maybe you just want to be a manager. And that's a perfectly fine dream to have. You can. And you're not sure how to do that. There's ways to navigate that. The performance of wanting is the next thing I want to talk about. There's a version of ambition that is really just fear of being seen as unambitious. The two feel almost identical from the inside. Pulling them apart requires honesty about what is actually driving the drive. Are you trying to look like you're working really hard because you're afraid that people aren't that people are going to perceive you as you're not working hard enough? I think that's probably the thing we hear a lot from boomers, right? Boomers are always like, "Oh, well, back in my day, back in the 1970s or 60s, you could buy a house for $5,000, and all you had to do was show up to Tommy's dry cleaning service and say you wanted a job, and he'd give you one right there." The world doesn't work like that anymore. I am sick and tired of hearing people tell me that they could have afforded a house on their salary. Like, why can't you do that? Why do you have to rent all the time? Blah, 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 this, and that. So that makes you feel like, oh, well, I'm working hard. And they're like, oh, you're not working hard enough. But we are. We are working hard. Working so hard that we're actually getting burnt out in some cases. And I'm sorry, but you're retired. You're out of the game, man. You're out of the game. You don't understand it anymore. You're just living off your retirement, making $5K a month because you're just reaping the benefits that your generation has set up for you. The baby boomers had it made after World War II. I think that's their generation. They had it made. Great time to grow up. Except when all the serial killers were running around. Probably not the best time. But that doesn't mean that we can't achieve our dreams now. We still can. It's a little harder, and it's only going to get harder. I'll be honest, it's only going to get harder. But the sooner that you realize and control your controllables, the easier it will get. And when you have that community that helps build you up rather than tear you down, you will be unstoppable. And when you've been moving in a direction long enough, it starts to feel like it's yours. You start to take on what the environment gives you. But that borrowed goal becomes the identity. The expected life becomes the comfortable one. Naming that is not a weakness. It's actually the beginning of the work. When you can name the borrowed goal from somebody else, maybe it's your family or your sibling or somebody that is trying to live vicariously through you. They don't want to see you succeed. They just want to see their dream become a reality through you because they didn't get to do that. So you need to think about the direction that you're moving in, and is it your direction? Maybe you want to become a florist. Maybe you don't want to work in finance. Who knows? You can achieve anything that you set your mind to. So do not set your mind to achieve somebody else's dream. Set your mind to achieve your dream. So what genuine ownership feels like? What does it actually feel like when you're moving towards something that is actually yours? Think about that. For me, moving towards this Kaizen business idea that I have, it feels not like pressure, but it excites me. I want to connect with you. I want people to hear the things that I'm saying and see themselves in what I'm saying and say, you know what, maybe I need to take a chance on myself. And you can see the community that I'm trying to build. It should excite you. It should give you butterflies. It should feel like a first date. Like when you're just meeting that potential love of your life. It should feel like that excitement. I'll close with this so we don't run on too long. You can't work towards your dreams if you don't know where you're going. And you can't know where you're going if you've never honestly asked whose destination you're actually heading toward. Direction changes everything. And that starts here. If the people whose opinions matter most to you stopped watching, would you still be moving in the same direction? So here's my call to action for you. Here's my little piece of homework. Write down the 3 biggest decisions you've made in the last 5 years. And next to each one, write whose voice was loudest when you made it, yours or someone else's. And that will be the beginning of your excavation. If you're interested in the Kaizen journey, I'll have a form for you to fill out just to say you're interested. And we can work on this together to achieve your dreams. I believe in you. I believe in me. So if this landed with you, drop a like on this video, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next episode.